Another video. I'll be talking about something that kind of reshaped the way I think about the world and everything that has transpired over the last 5 years. Today I want to talk about the book, The Sovereign Individual. If you've never read this book is absolutely incredible. I think it's one of the best pieces of literature written in the last 20 years. All around, it's a book that was written in 1999. 1999, before the 2000s even hit. Talking about how the internet is going to completely reshape the world that we live in such a fast way that people aren't going to be able to adapt to how much change is going to happen. So, it starts off with this book talking about all the different massive changes that came in human society from like the agriculture age to the industrial age and then now into the information age. All of those stages, the agriculture and industrial, right? They were faster than the one before, but the information age can happen in literally less than a century of being able to see all the changes that are happening. And we're currently living through a scary amount of what they talked about in this book. It kind of gets me excited to talk about this because I love this book. Every time somebody talks about a book that's really interesting, I always tell them to point and read this book. But all around, like the agriculture age lasted around 400 years. I'm summing this up and making this super like palatable for you so that you don't have to go and read it or understand like where my thought process is going for this video. But the agriculture age lasted about 400 years. The industrial age lasted about 200 years. And then what they're predicting is that at the start of 2000, when this, again, book was written, that the information age would fully immerse our world and become the new change and create a whole new society of people that thrive and don't thrive in less than 50 to 100 years. Again, so it's summed up. The thesis is that people with assets, skills, and leverage will thrive. Everyone else is going to be left behind. Super crazy because in 2020 when I read this book, they talked about all different types of things that governments and political unrest and all these other things that would happen because of the divide that humans have when they get access to all the information that's from the internet. They talked about cryptocurrencies before they were even idea. They called it digital dollars or something on the book. And they talked about e-commerce, AI, talked about microchips and how their processing power is going to exponentially grow over the time period that we're going to see. And it's absolutely fascinating. I highly recommend that each and every single one of you go and read this. And this is kind of like the reason why I ended up building the website that I am building or coming up with the idea, Digital Whale Club, because I firmly believe I want to build the tools and resources for people that are serious about like not being left behind to have like a gap to fill in that sense, right? So building courses, building content that helps people go from or at least mitigate the risk of falling into that underclass that's left behind. So that's the whole thesis around Digital Whale Club and like what I want to build. I want to build a community around that idea. I mean, right now we are watching wealth inequality widen in every sense. Inflation is still relatively high compared to what it was pre-2020. You're seeing absolute divide across all different fronts. AI is getting faster, better, smarter, and more relevant to every single day of our lives. And this is the crazy part. AI is the worst it is going to ever be today. Today. It's the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better over time, which is the crazy part because sooner or later we're going to be in a world where robots are walking amongst us and we're just living life, right? And I look at it as a crazy time to be alive, but I also think of it as like I'm so lucky to be a part of such an interesting time that this book came across my lap in 2020 and that I get to experience something like that. I'm super excited about the future for that specific reason. Now, this book did really whip me into shape in terms of, alongside like a lot of other resources that I consumed at the time, into building something online. It feels much more urgent to me than maybe other people that haven't had exposure to the book or some of the parts of the internet that I'm like, again, like into. I'm really into Twitter and like the business side of Twitter, where people just talk about ideas, business, and AI and technology and all these cool things that come up. So I firmly believe for my own life right now that accumulating assets now, building assets now, is the most important thing that I can do for my future, my family's future, the family that I build. And I take it very seriously. So I try to work as hard as I possibly can in order to make sure that I am in that class that is at least reaping the benefits of some sort and coming out the other side of this rapid change that we're having as a sovereign individual, an individual that owns their time, has assets, and creates value in society that keeps me mobile and not subject to other people's acts of power, of assertion, whatever that case may be. That's like the MO of my life. I take that very seriously. That is my mission, to make sure that I am in that class of people in some way, shape, or form. So what that looks like, I buy crypto. I have been buying crypto for a very long time. I buy stocks. I participate in my company's 401k, their employee stock purchasing program. I try to put as much money as I can into other apps like Acorns, Robinhood, have a Roth IRA, when I don't necessarily make all too much money right now. Like, I'm not making anything crazier than most people make in a year, but I am very serious about putting money into these pockets, because I firmly believe that assets are the future, and being able to make sure that my money works for me, because money will work harder for you than you will ever be able to work, because it's constantly working. It's working 24/7, and it's only going to get like that even further once stocks start to be tokenized on the blockchain. I could dive into that later, but once that happens and the financial system is fully 24/7 and not operating on banker hours, there's going to be a huge unlock. And then lastly, like, I love collectibles. You guys don't see it here, but I have a whole sheet of graded cards. I have, some slabs that aren't on this little thing that I have here, this little display case. And I also collect sealed products. I've been into the collectibles for a very long time. I'm a collector at heart. So all around, like, I take that very seriously. On top of being able to build online businesses, to build leverage everywhere that I possibly can. The thing that I really deal with in this sense, because I guess I had this existential crisis around, like, oh shit, like, I need to get my shit together and I need to get it together fast, is that I'm too late to the boat. Or maybe that you feel that you're too late to the boat. And what I can tell you is that you're absolutely not. There is always a product, there is always a service, there is always something that you can be doing, regardless of the niche that you choose to be in, that you can do that somebody else is not doing. That's the beauty of the internet. It's such an open door to where everybody has the ability to win. You just have to figure out your angle, build, and run into the unknown and try to figure it out as you kind of go. So I don't know if, like, that fear is ultimately rational, but or if it's even real, or if it's just me overthinking. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, that book, this book, The Sovereign Individual, if you haven't read it, read it. If you have read it, you know that this is coming. This is real. And yeah, I hope each and every single one of you, learn something about how I think, or why I do the things that I do, why I build the things that I am building. And yeah,